Hi, this is John Rowell for the Rowell Report. Today is Tuesday, December 30th, 2025. From the world of the military analysis perspective, we have many sensible analysts and many who just pump out one narrative after another. We have think tanks dedicated to supposedly military analysis, but only at the same time pumping out support for one side, the side that they have already chosen, that should be winning, and so they pump out everything from that point of view as if they were actually fighting alongside that one particular side, and they wind up missing really the key points. Here we have a military analyst, Sean Bell, who now looking back on his predictions, on his words, seems like one of the most sensible military analysts out there. And it's surprising he's on Sky News, because Sky News is very hawkish, very Russia-phobic, putting out anti-Russian narratives whenever they can. But this military analyst really seems to have had a good grasp over the frontline situation and the right moment for Ukraine to start negotiating, to get the win while they could. He also echoes, in a way, the words of General Milley, who said that in 2022, Ukraine would never have a better position, so better for them to stop the war. And if they would have, this would be a totally different situation for Ukraine. They would have so many citizens still living, breathing, working, fewer cities lost, fewer mines lost, fewer rare earths lost, fewer population gone to never come back. So, these calls to Zelenskyy from 2022, from both General Milley and from Sean Bell, had gone unheeded, and President Zelenskyy said, we can win, we can push the Russians out, and the situation for Ukraine has just gotten worse and worse. But anyway, I want to play you a few words from Sean Bell from 2022, and then from 2025, and you can see that he is analyzing the conflict on the basis of advantages, disadvantages, not on, we hate the Russians and we must push them out of Ukraine, which you get from most Western media like Fox News and many other news sources, which really aren't news, they're just more propaganda. But anyway, here I'll play a few seconds from Sean Bell. You can see his analysis, and I think it's very sensible. It's very to the point, and really he doesn't have a whole lot of perspective on this conflict. It was evolving very quickly in 2022, and despite that, he had the insight to say that this was the time for Ukraine to pick up the phone and to call. So anyway, let's listen to Sean Bell from 2022 and then go to 2025 and see how this has this whole, his analysis seems to be spot on in many ways. So anyway, I'll just play this. Hopefully we won't get an ad during this clip, and we can then listen to him in 2025. So here we go. Sean Bell, November 12th, 2022.
Attacks against established defensive positions, and there's going to be feels like a bit of a stalemate brewing at the moment. From a Russian perspective, they probably are getting close to the position where they'd be happy to negotiate. But from a Ukrainian perspective, President Zelenskyy, almost certainly, their tails are up. They're talking about vanquishing every single Russian, even from Crimea. But it's worth pointing out from a military perspective, Crimea withstood attacks from whole armies in the Second World War. Those defensive positions still exist. It's very difficult to see how Ukraine will ever be able to take that anytime soon. The Donbass is a different matter. It's been a thorn in the side for Zelenskyy for ages. And besides, both sides need weapons. Russia's trying to get them from Iran.
So basically, he's saying the Donbass was a thorn in the side to Zelenskyy, why does he need the Donbass? He's better off without the Donbass. And so he said at the end of the clip, pick up the phone and call Putin, get this over with. And the Russians would probably be happy with how things are settling as well. Anyway, his calls went unheeded, and now we're in the situation where Russia has conquered Pokrovsk, Mirnograd, Guliapole. They're now in the urban area of Konstantinovka. They've taken Siversk. They're in the urban area of Liman or Lyman. They are in the urban area. Not exactly sure exactly where things stand in Kupiansk, but Russia is there, and now they're starting to move towards Kharkiv and Sumy. So this is not a good scenario for Ukraine, and certainly one they could have avoided if they would have negotiated back in 2022. But they said, no, we will win easily. We are better soldiers. We have the NATO generals leading the charge, and we will win, and as he mentioned, both sides were scrambling for troops, for weapons. This was a bad situation for both sides. They could have finished the conflict before the end of the year 2022, but yet Zelenskyy refused. So now here we are in 2025. You can see Sean Bell has aged a little bit, but still pretty much giving a spot on analysis. Hopefully I picked the right spot here in the video, and we can hear a few words from him again about his analysis. So here we go.
Life has changed for everybody in Ukraine. Do they now feel that their victory is inevitable? No, there's much more a sense of weariness, a sense of loss, that actually somehow you've got to negotiate an end to this war. The question is how much you're prepared to give. And you can't do those negotiations in public, which I think one of the challenges at the moment. We keep speculating about it, but President Putin will simply take any concessions off the table straight away, bank those. So Zelenskyy knows he can't do this in public.
It is interesting to hear what it's like.
So anyway, now we see Sean Bell again, suggesting that Zelenskyy pick up the phone but do this in private, not in public, not in the news media where everything is commented, everything is leaked. So if President Zelenskyy is truly serious about the negotiations, he needs to stop the media circus and all the trips to garner support for Ukraine's military offensive that would push Russia out of Ukraine, which this will never happen, and to start getting down to the brass tacks. Unfortunately, this was 2 days ago from Sean Bell. So now with the supposed attack on President Putin, we're now looking at a situation where we may not be doing any real peace negotiations for a couple of months. Russia will ramp up its attacks. It's going to be starting its winter campaign. It continues to make advances despite the terrible conditions on the front line. So I really think that, in Western media, they've had good military analysis. They just refuse to listen to the good analysis. They just continue to listen to the hawkish, warmongering analysts. And this is very unfortunate because, as he was mentioning, I didn't want to play the whole clip. It's quite long. Is that when you see the images from the Ukrainian military cemeteries, it's just seems infinite, the Ukrainian flags that are flying in the wind, and that's very sad. These lives could have been saved if Zelenskyy would have listened to Sean Bell back in 2022. And no, he didn't listen to him, nor anyone in the UK government. They all thought that they just needed to give a little bit more to Zelenskyy and he could win, more money, more weapons. But the thing that the Western governments can't give Zelensky is soldiers. So as Ukraine continues to struggle to locate soldiers and struggle even more to give them any kind of decent training before they go to the front line, they are quickly running through their available soldier pool, and they will then begin to have to choose where do they want to defend, where do they not want to defend. Because as Russia continues to stretch the front lines, Ukraine defenses will weaken in certain areas, and that's where Russia will advance. So I think going back to this key point here, the war, it needs to be analyzed militarily, not from some ideological or some battle between good and evil. It needs to be analyzed as with using military elements, as far as troop deployments, as far as shells, as far as missiles, as far as drones. The momentum that one side is experiencing. So right now, all the momentum seems to be pretty much on the side of Russia. And Sean Bell is basically saying now, you still have the opportunity to negotiate, but do it in private, not in the media. And yet, President Zelensky continues to ramp up his media circus as he goes from here to there, and quoting all the help that he has been promised, which on the battlefield literally does little or nothing, because weapons that are promised need to get from point A to point B. There is the transportation issue. Then those weapons need someone to operate them. So that person needs to be trained. That could be a week, a month, a year. Some weapon system takes several years to learn. So this isn't an overnight thing. And so we have all this, Jiffy Pop type, media circus from President Zelensky. He wants to go to a capital, get a victory, and somehow this is reflected on the front lines. Well, I'm sorry, this isn't Jiffy Pop. You don't just put the popcorn over the heat and immediately you got popcorn. No, you need to get the corn, you need to dry it, you need to get a pan, you need to get the oil, etc. So, this sense of immediacy is killing the Ukrainian effort. And Sean Bell is basically saying, look, take a look at the real situation on the front line. Take a look at the real situation of your soldiers, of your your military, and make a judgment based on that, not on all these promises from all these countries that have promised all this aid, which may or may not come. So anyway, I was pretty impressed with the kind of similar stance that this analyst has taken, much more sensible, and I was surprised to see that on Sky News. So I just thought I would share that with you. And will anyone in the UK or Ukraine listen to this military analyst? I don't think so. They haven't listened before. They're not going to listen now. But I think the fact that there are analysts out there providing, pretty much spot on recommendations for Zelensky, he should take it, And this is certainly getting much better military analysis than those NATO generals sitting on the 19th hole in Germany, sipping wine or ordering a hamburger and then picking up the phone and telling Zelensky, you know what, you can win, just keep going. And well, thank you for your support. I'm gonna get back to the to my next round of golf. Okay, so Zelensky is depending too much on people who really don't give him good information, and the people who have been trying to give him good information, he's just not listening. So um, I don't think that spells well for 2026, but we'll see. In any case, as I said, I just wanted to share this with you. I think there are military analysis in the Western countries which pretty much hit the nail on the head, and I think this is very good to have. Eventually, someone will listen to them, and people will become sensible again at some point uh, in the development of things. But I don't think anytime soon will anyone in Ukraine want to unload the Donbass and Crimea officially so that they can have peace. So that is my point of view, at least. You're welcome to leave your comments below if you like. And again, I appreciate you for joining me. For everyone who will not be seeing another video of mine until the new year, I wish you a very happy new year. Please stay safe. And I hope that you have a successful and happy 2026. Take care. Bye bye.